Now, you don't need to spend hundreds to get a smartwatch which will track your fitness, monitor your heart rate, and even record your GPS workouts. This is the iWonFit Pro P1. Let's take a closer look. So the box says Power Sports Watch. I'm not sure about power, whether it means you get superpowers wearing it, but certainly this is a pretty comprehensive watch which retails for $59.99 in the UK, $74.99 in the US, and it's got a host of features packed in. Now, the look of this and the feel with the plastic, I would say, is a good quality, but it's certainly one that I would recommend being exactly what it's designed for. What it says it is a sports watch. It looks more sporty than it does something which you'd wear for fashion or for design. It comes with the iWonFit Pro sports app, or that's what it links to, and that is one of my favorite sports apps. Very, very easy to use, and I'll go into that in more detail towards the end of the video. But connecting it up and binding it to your smartphone is very, very simple. It works with Android or with iOS, as you would expect, and it's just a case of pressing a couple of buttons. When I first got mine and turned it on, I had to run it through an upgrade on the firmware, and that took about 5 or 10 minutes, but again, it wasn't too bad. So I just press yes, okay, run the firmware. But then I got it set up, and this is the screen that you're met with. So some of the key features with this watch: it has a 240 by 240 1.3 inch high resolution display, which is really bright, and it's got auto bright settings as well. It's IP68 waterproof, which is for 50 meters, and that's really impressive for a watch at this price point. It has a battery life of 5 to 7 days, although that does go down if you're using it with GPS. Speaking of GPS, you can use the GPS function and have no phone, so therefore you can track the GPS afterwards. And speaking of tracking, it's got a massive range of activities that you can track, which is very, very easy to do. As you can see on the screen now, we're checking the fatigue, and it's got electrodes on the top and the bottom, and that creates a circuit and it measures the fatigue. It gives you a reading, which mine was 57. I'm not sure what that means really, but it does say the higher the score, the better the state. So that's something which I think you can just track. But as you scroll through all of the different activities, you can really see how much it monitors, and that is really, really good, again, for a watch at this price point. Starting an activity is really easy. Just press start, and then you can monitor it and then stop it. Obviously I'm stopping it far too soon before the end, but you'll get a lot of information once you've finished that activity. Having just the 3 buttons, one on one side and 2 on the other, it's really easy to scroll through all of the different menus, and you've also got the touchscreen facility as well. You can go into the settings and change the watch faces, and I think there's 7 or 8, maybe 9 different watch faces that you can scroll between, and again you can have the hand or the digital face, and it also gives you more or less information on the activities and what you've been up to. So, as I mentioned earlier, there are loads of features packed into the P1. There's obvious things that you would expect, things like the pedometer, stopwatch, timer, do not disturb mode, but there's other great things like heart rate tracking. So it will actually in real time record your heart rate during an activity and then send that to the app so that you can look at that later. And it will also record things like distance automatically as well. Speaking of app, let's head into that app now, and I can show you how easy and simple that is to operate. It's the iWonFit app, and anyone that watched my video about one of their bands earlier on this year, you probably will see this and be fairly familiar with it. It's a very, very intuitive app, very, very easy to use and completely straightforward. So one of the things I really wanted to check out was the GPS function on the device, and that is a brilliant feature, and it worked brilliantly. It tracked my route exactly, and as you can see, I went along the road, down the road, and then into the park, took the dog for a walk all around the park, and it tracked it brilliantly. I stopped it as we were going along because I wanted to check that it was working, but as you can see, you get some information with regard to the calories burned, the pace, the time, and the distance that you've traveled, so it worked really well. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that the device itself doesn't display the map, the GPS, it just stores that information, and you don't even need your phone with you, so you can actually just sync it back to the device when you get back. So it's worth also knowing that absolutely everything within the application is really, really simple to use. It's very, very well laid out. One feature that I really like is the ability to take photographs using the watch. And what I mean by that is that you can link it to your phone's camera, and then if I bring in the actual watch itself, you can press the middle button on the screen and that will use the shutter release on the phone. And that's really good if you're in a position where, for instance, you're taking a group photograph and your phone might not be right next to you. So overall, both the application and the watch are so simple to use. You know, anyone can do it, from a very young person to an older person. So if you're buying it for someone older, you know, they can easily operate this as well. There's lots of functions that you can use in terms of notifications and all the other things, but this is a good looking sports watch which is absolutely jam-packed full of features, and I would definitely recommend it if someone's wanting to get a lot of the features of a more premium watch for a lot less money. Here it is next to my Apple Watch, so you can see the comparison in terms of size. But guys, the links are in the description. Check it out for yourself. Thanks for watching this video.